So, since last Friday, I have finally completed 100 times the latest trial, Gzemnid's Reliquary Master. This trial is currently the most challenging one if you've managed to beat all the previous ones. I am not so sure how it relates if you were, let's say, a newer player, but this trial incorporates mechanics from all the different trials in one phase, phase 3. You can have different bosses in combinations, so you are advised to know those mechanics prior to this trial and thus have experience in the previous trials as well. So ultimately you then end up with this trial, which has a bunch of RNG combined with new mechanics here and there that make it pretty challenging. You need a coordinated group to be able to actually beat this thing, let alone having fully optimized characters, maxed out and everything, and know what you're doing in your class like really well. And of course having a bit of luck on your side. So 100 completions, that's over the course of nearly 2 months at this point. If I'm real, probably just over a month by now since we really started farming it, getting completions every day, 3, 4, sometimes you'd only get 1, sometimes you have a really bad day and don't get any because you're trying to bring in newer players. But this trial, when you do manage to beat it, will drop these new weapons, these Weaver weapons, and they have the highest item level in the game right now of any weapons, and will give you a decent amount of base damage, and they're pretty much best in slot for any Underdark content. And the chests have a chance to give you the artifact sets. Right here we can see we got the Beholder belt, and in our other chest we use our Beholder key. We go ahead and we just re-roll. Unfortunately, we don't get anything great, but you can see all of the rewards in your collections here. In the Northdark, you have the Weaver weapons. You can see them for your class. You can read through the bonus. I've made dedicated videos for them as well, covering the bonus, looking at the math, whether they're worth it or not. And then in artifacts and relics, we have the Greater Beholder belt, the Hypnotizing pendant, and the Wand of Domination, which we can see in the specific artifact section on Mythic will give us 1500 item level. I personally haven't gone for the artifact, but if you're a damage dealer and want to completely min-max your damage, then getting the Wand of Domination plus the Eye of Odran plus the Rod of Pain from the Zen Market are 3 of the best artifacts right now with the highest item level. And of course from this trial you're also getting new rings, these mythic rings just here, which can give you a set of Lothian Might, and ultimately these rings are a little underwhelming outside of the latest trial. You'll basically obtain them in the trial and you'll use them to beat the trial a bit easier, using like Lord's Abrasion on DPS and Lothian Pain on a tank. You can make use of them, and yes, they have the highest item level of any rings in the game as well. So the trial has decent loot, all things considered, and the only thing you could actually sell from the trial is the artifact set, this Beholder belt, pendant, and the wand. And I personally, after 100 completions, managed to obtain just about 24 million Astral Diamonds off the trial. That's pretty decent, but considering the amount of time invested, that's like at least 2 hours a day for more than a month. That's over 60 hours. Throw on another 20 hours at least of training time, and yeah, you're looking at like 80 hours to get this much Astral Diamonds. But for me, it's what I find fun, and if we're making some Astral Diamonds off it as well, that's pretty neat, especially to compensate for switching around things on your build, getting new insignias, and then also buff food. I'm lucky as a tank, don't have to spend too much. There is a bit of cost on your Stones of Health and like your Scrolls of Life, but you're not nearly using as much as you would a DPS character, where you'll be burning through scrolls an awful lot more, and also more expensive buff food. Like every time you die, you'll want to buff up again, and that can end up being pretty costly. So after 100 completions, my drops are 5 pendants, 3 belts, and 6 wands. And we can see the prices of them on the auction house right now. I just went and set them all to the lowest, and you can see the wands are at like 3.8 million, the belts 590k, and the pendants 430k. They've dropped considerably. Upon release of this new trial, and when people finally started beating it, we had somewhat of a set price that we had agreed upon, those of us who were beating it. And it was at like 5 million for the wand, 3 million for the belt and pendant. And we all kind of stuck to those prices. But as soon as more and more groups started beating it, some of them decided they're going to, start undercutting everybody. So fair enough. Yes, that's what it ended up being. Everybody started undercutting each other, and we're at this point now. We're all undercutting each other. There's only 9 wands left, actually. That's pretty decent. There used to be like, I think, 50 of these. The pendants, you can see also people undercutting have dropped significantly. Again, this is a set with the highest item level in the game. So if you're chasing for the highest item level, it's available there. And the price will probably only go down from here, unless all of a sudden a load of people want to buy them. The beholder belts, you can see those prices there as well. Not too many of them there. They used to be like 60 odd or something. People just weren't buying them when they were that expensive, and that's fair enough. Just don't buy it. You can wait and the price will drop. Of course, there will come a point where this trial won't be the latest trial. There'll be a new trial that comes out. And at that point, the prices will go back up again because people won't be farming it like they are now. You see that with the Rise of Tiamat trial. The Arcane Globe still sells for a decent amount along with the set from it. Like these neck and waist pieces sell for more than currently the Master Gzemnid's Reliquary set. And that's just based on how many people can actually complete it and how many people are completing it. And so overall, the ones that I did manage to sell, because you can see, I have a bunch here still listed to sell. But of the ones I did sell, I've earned, about 24 million. I sold 2 pendants, 1 belt, and 4 wands. And I made about this much Astral diamonds off it. So I'm fairly happy. I can't complain too much about the trial. It's definitely paid off what I used to invest to be able to maximize my character to get it to the point where it can beat it. The previous server totally helped a lot in order to prioritize which things to upgrade for the build. Definitely saved some Astral diamonds there, but I definitely spent like 20 mil or so getting some insignias. Before this trial, I did not have any tanking insignias. I was still running like full brutality and dominance that I would run on my healer normally, or my DPS. So this trial's definitely helped me upgrade my character a bit, and it's definitely paid off as well. And ultimately, I still gotta get the weapons as well for this trial. I have managed to obtain the sets for all of these 4 classes, and I still have to get these other classes. But yes, I can go and I can spend my currency in the campaign and I could buy the weapons for the class. You can see them right here. Very nastily, they come with a 300,000 Astral diamond cost, which means I'm not going to spend any of my Gzemnid eyes. But overall, I had a lot of fun with this trial, and I'm not going to deny the profits it made as well. It's not a trial everybody can beat, and takes a lot of practice and learning and optimizing of your character to actually do it. And the main big factor is getting a team together, coordinate them well enough, train together, and then beat it. Again, I spent well over 20 hours on the previous server just training this trial, not completing, just wiping over and over. And the reason we do it on the previous server is because scrolls and then stones and consumables all cost nothing there. You can simply copy them over multiple times from the live server. And so you're basically training for free. And I would highly recommend you do it. Lots of guilds do it. So with that said, a massive thank you to all these channel members for their added support. You can support me for as little as €1 a month by clicking the join button down below. And we'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.